And I think that's where a lot of people, that's what a lot of people like to see from Justin, and that's why they have a hard time, you know, coming to terms with this. This may have been his last season. He may not be here next
Yeah,
year.
it's rough.
Um, so I could see where people kind of I could see where people have that opinion where, this kid's a hard worker and, this and the other. It's just for me, I don't know. I've been on the fence. I can't, I don't want to say one way or another what I would do because either way, it's, it's franchise changing for you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it's a
Brian
tough
Poles,
decision for sure.
it's the hardest decision he's probably ever going to have to make as a GM, and it's legacy making. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
everybody keeps talking about, and here's the thing: you and I, we could sit here and we could say that we watch, you watch a lot of college football. I watch, a lot of tape just in general, just kind of getting a feel for these guys, but. Um, all of these talent evaluators that have been in the league years and years and years and years, they just keep saying that Caleb Williams is the most talented guy they have seen in a very, very long time. And it's hard to not
They
take
said
that.
some of those guys said that
Not
shit
they're
about
not a
Zach
perfect.
Wilson. Like, I
Well,
don't.
they're not a perfect
Yes.
prospect by any standard. And Daniel Jeremiah, who used to be a former scout, he said flat out like I mean, Caleb Williams isn't perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect prospect. He goes, but if the Bears draft him this year, they will have the most talented quarterback in the NFC North already, just based off of
If
talent.
we're saying talent, then I think Justin, we already have the most talented one.
I don't know about
If
that.
we're talking about talent, not as it being incorporated onto the field, sure he could be talented, but what I've always said about Caleb is this is what I don't get about what they're saying. It's like all the stuff people don't like about Justin doing in the NFL, Caleb does that in college. He's not this meticulous. He's a gunslinger who holds the ball too long and tries to make
Yes,
hero plays. And it's
yes,
like
but but
I don't know.
all that stuff is supposed to be coachable in terms of getting coached out of. It's been 3 years, and Justin still hasn't been able to get that coached out of him. And that's where a lot of people, that's where people are making the comparison. That's why they're saying, yeah, he may have the same issues. Caleb Williams may have some of the same issues that Justin does now, but Caleb hasn't been in the NFL yet, working with NFL coaches to be able to have that stuff
He's
coached
working
out of
with
him.
a
Justin Fields
better
has had
coach than
three
most of the
years of
NFL OC.
coaches
I don't know. I
Justin
think
Fields has had 3 years of coaches in the NFL and has not been able to, that
well,
hasn't
that
been.
part I agree with, and I won't argue that. Maybe but in my head, maybe he's a slow learner. And Caleb has been in one system with the same guy running the same plays for 3 years straight. So obviously you're going to look clean. Justin has not been doing that. They went from he had Nagy, then year two we had Getsy, but we were running the Wildcat Lamar Jackson year one offense, and he rushed for 1,100 yards. And then this year we went to something else. So there's just a little bit, and I think what also gets lost in sauce with Justin, like our offensive line, there's certain stats they look good, but this year I don't think we started the same O line more than one game in a row, maybe two. Same thing a year before. These guys aren't there, and again, I just think maybe he's a slow learner. And to build upon what you said earlier, yes, he's in the gym working. Like I say, I understand football is a business, but I don't think the best organizations are necessarily always ran like a business. I think at the end of the day, football is more like you just can't like it can't just be a business. Chemistry plays a part, and I just think to me why I don't like getting rid of Justin now is like we got this kid, we stripped the team bare and made him take a beating during the rebuild. And when the rebuild's over and we're finally going to tool up and go on, we throw this kid in the dumpster to go get somebody else while we let him get sacked and dragged and all that shit. And then, like, again, and I just don't know if that's necessarily good chemistry for your team. I've said I've been harping about this with Roquan, even though T.J. Edwards and Edmonds were just fine. They were adequate. Probably, like I said, maybe Edmonds played slightly worse than Roquan would have. I just think it was chemistry to keep our all pro first ballot Hall of Fame players, even if you got to pay them a little bit more money. It's culture. We ran or like we disrespected Urlacher and ran him out of town. And there was like I just think at some point you gotta show some loyalty to your guy, like to your guys, and not You can't just be like, oh, this is a business and think you're going to win. What teams win like that? Like, maybe the Patriots, but I don't know. Like I said last week, the Patriots, Tom Brady's taking pay cuts. Other guys are taking pay cuts. You know what I mean? Like they're playing for each other. Tom Brady more than anybody else, he was playing for the team. And also what I said last week, I don't know if Justin's that guy. I know for a fact Caleb's not that guy. We're not getting any kind of discount with Caleb Williams when it time comes money time. And maybe we won't with Justin. I don't know. He just seems more like that type. And these guys keep coming out and defending Justin. Mike Singletary came out and defended Justin. Um, I don't know. I think the city likes him, and I think either way, it's a throwaway season if we get Caleb Williams. Maybe he will be good, but either way, I think next year is you throw it away. Just based on everything that's ever happened in the history of the NFL, more than likely it's a throwaway season. And then so we're just sitting around with sitting at least with Justin, there'll be some expectations for greatness. The whole season will be full of excuses if we get Caleb. Well, we had a rookie, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, I see where you're coming from. I'm just gonna go, like I said, when are you ever gonna have the opportunity to have the number one overall pick again? You know, it sucks. It sucks.
I
And
don't know
I'm
what
not
that
saying
means
it's
though.
easy.
You say that, but like, what does that mean? None of the like, how many of the best quarterbacks in the NFL were the number one overall pick? We don't need the number one overall pick to
It
get a
doesn't
good
it doesn't
quarterback.
that it doesn't matter. You have to get it right regardless of who you pick, absolutely. But having this number one overall pick, you have your choice of whoever you want, right?
Yeah.
And you're in a position to where you got it from another team. So it's not like you are the worst team in football because that's your number one overall pick. You made a trade, another team gave you the number one overall pick. Your pick's at 9, so you already have a decent team. Now you have the opportunity to maybe take the guy. And here's the thing: if Ryan Poles even has the slightest bit of doubt that Caleb Williams isn't the guy, or Drake May or whoever, then you stick with Justin. You can't go with just a little bit of doubt and be like, well, he can't feel pressure to take Caleb Williams because of all the outside noise or anything else like that. He himself has to be convinced. He has to evaluate and go through the process and everything else like that. If he doesn't feel 100% that Caleb Williams is the guy, or Drake May, or Jaden Daniels, or whoever he decides to pick, then you stick with Justin.